Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Okies Eden. I wasn't planning on doing a live today, but I decided I have a little bit of time. I'm going to do a second iteration of my Cowboy Candy recipe I did a while ago, and this time I'm doing it on a live. The reason I'm saying it's a second iteration was the first time I used jalapenos, which is the main ingredient for Cowboy Candy. Forgive me if I'm not answering any chats or anything because it's the camera, so I'm going to be back and forth between the stove, so I might not be able to answer till after. I have one pimento pepper that I just picked yesterday. They're sweet peppers, but I want it for color and for volume because I only had, a few jalapenos. But the other thing I'm bringing to the party are my, see those? Tabasco peppers. So it's going to be pimento, Tabasco, and jalapeno. Let me grab my mason jar. One mason jar. One of the most important things when you're doing Cowboy Candy, and it's in the morning, is you want to make sure you have your Cowboy coffee. Okay. Simple recipe for Cowboy Candy. Just grab yourself a bunch of jalapenos. If you want to try some Tabascos, grab a second type of pepper. Put a sweet pepper in for a little change. I'm trying this because I want to see how it works, but I do want to pair the color red and green. Simple recipe. Let me get my stove on high here. 1.5 cups water. 1/2 cup apple cider vinegar. 1 cup white sugar, brown sugar, whichever. I have white sugar, I'm running low on brown sugar, I forgot to get it again. I have that. Once I bring that up to a simmer, I'll put it down on medium. So that, I'm going to stir because I don't want the sugar to burn. So I'm going to get that rolling. Give me 1 second here. Okay. While that is doing its business, let me turn this contraption down here. See if I can get, there we go. Excuse me. So, this is just my good old pimento pepper. Everybody does their pepper stuff a little bit different. I just go in there. I don't care if there's a couple seeds, doesn't matter. I leave the jalapeno seeds in. So, a couple pimento seeds. Never hurt anybody, in my opinion. I want these in decent sized chunks. I'm not gonna dice them up too fine like you would for like an omelet or something. I want some chunk to them. All right. There's my pimento. Now, on to the co-star. Now these, these are going to bring the heat. One thing about, that one was awful mushy, I don't like that. One thing about Cowboy Candy is you're going to lose a lot of the heat when you boil it and add the sugar. It's going to make a kind of spicy, sweet, savory dish. So jalapenos I eat all the time, so jalapenos to me aren't super hot. So yeah, it's got a little kick to it. Woo! Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just put some in my mouth there and that is going to be warm. Okay. Jalapenos. So you can see everything is kind of chunky. Jalapenos. I leave the seeds in, you do what you like. Like I said, some people, there's a lot of heat in the seeds. There's no getting around that. And you can smell these. These are going to be warm. Okay. So, my simple sugar mixture is moving right along. I'm only going to simmer these for about 15 minutes because I don't want them to turn to mush. And then I remove them with a slotted spoon, put them in the jar, and then just finish making the syrup. These are some really nice jalapenos. Oh, wrong bin, wrong bin. There we go, hold on. So what I'm looking for, as you can tell, is I have the pimento and I have the red Tabasco peppers. So that is going to have some kick. And that's what I want. I get so used to the jalapenos over time because, you know, I use them on everything. I put them on eggs, I put them on my fried potatoes. Excuse me. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna add some of these to the pool. I don't let the peppers go for too long because I don't want them to be mush. So like I always use for my rule of thumb is when they look like the pickled jalapenos you get in the store, that's when I take them out. So when they get to that kind of dull olive color, olive green or whatever they call it, that's where I stop. that leaves just a little bit of chew on them. I don't like mushy stuff. Unless it's mashed potatoes, I don't want my stuff mushy. Oh yeah, one left. And then there was one. Those seeds, you can just take right over there, pop right in that simple syrup. Okay, so we have everything chopped up now. Now, we'll get everything on simmer. And let's see. Okay. My dish is out of the way here. There is some really good compost. So I know I did a thing on compost the other day, but this is what I've created so far this week. Put that in there. I had some old peppers that just weren't that good. I had in the freezer. I got rid of them, but I have a bunch of peelings, eggshells, everything in here. That's gonna go in the garden here in a few minutes. You can see I am starting to simmer over here. Got some seeds here I can put in there. Excuse me 1 minute. Okay. So, I think I've showed you guys this. In my wood shop, I have some old, aged, I'm talking oak, that's old. I'm not sure what the original purpose was, but that's one of my cutting boards I made. So this is actually 2 pieces of 2-inch thick oak. It's about 1.5 inches thick now. It was a true 2-inch, but through the years, as I use it and I rough it up, I have a wood planer that smooths the whole surface. And so in a week or so, I'll take it out, lower the setting on the planer, run it through the planer, and it'll smooth the surface. And then I'll put a little food grade oil on it, and it'll be all set again for another year or 2. I use this is only for vegetables. And I have one of my Powden knives. This is not a paid promotion. That's the knife I use. Hey everybody. This is what I use for vegetables. This has never touched chicken, beef, pork, no meat. This has not cut any meat. It's only my vegetable knife. It has never been in the dishwasher because this is all wood and I don't want that damaged. So this is always hand washed. So I don't worry about cross-contamination on this stuff because I know my wood, this one's only for vegetables. This is only for vegetables and it's all hand washed. We're at a decent rolling boil here. I'm turning that down a little bit. Kind of the other reason I wanted to go this route with the Cowboy Candy with the pimento and the Tabasco peppers was, you know, we're coming up into fall, and you know, after fall, we know stuff's already in the stores. You're starting to see Christmas stuff in the stores because, you know, Halloween stuff's already pretty much sold out. And I figured, you know what, why not do a little red and green? Make it a little festive. I was thinking of Cowboy Candy, like I said, the star attraction to the Cowboy Candy is jalapeno. Being that I've added Tabasco for a little extra heat, I'm trying to think of a name for Cowboy Candy that's a little hotter. I have a couple of, for some, I don't get it, I have a couple of Carolina Reaper peppers in my garden. And they're not turning. I wanted to do a challenge. I had one that I thought was going to turn and ripen, but I've never grown them before. So if anybody has any, information on that, drop a comment later. I have no idea. And then I go out a day later and it's on the ground and I didn't see it. It must have been a day or two it was on the ground, and then it had some rot to it, so I couldn't use it. So I've been trying to watch them every day, but now I have 2 left. They're not turning, so I wouldn't add it to the Cowboy Candy only because they're good for challenges, in my opinion. For fun, I don't use food that is so spicy that it hurts. I don't mind doing challenges. I think they're funny. I'll do them all day long because I'm not afraid I'm not afraid of the heat of the pepper. If you've ever seen I did a challenge early on with the Carolina Reaper chip. But point being, I don't want it to detract from the taste of the food, where jalapeno to me doesn't. If you get a really nice jalapeno and just the right amount on eggs or potatoes, I think it enhances it and makes it even better. Some people think they're even too spicy, and that's fine. Everybody has a different spice level they like. But I don't add stuff that is so spicy that it just makes it kind of disgusting. So I am almost at the color I want to be with the, excuse me, the jalapenos. Every time I get over the stove and I get hit with that, the vinegar and the pepper smell makes me want to sneeze. Got some exciting news coming up over the next couple days. I'm building a trellis here after this live. I'm going to build it right from the ground up so people can see. I have all my wood pre-cut. Everything's ready to go. I got my fencing. I got to get cut. That's no problem. I got all my tools out there in the garden, and I'm just going to do how I build a quick temporary trellis for my Black Beauty zucchini I'm growing. That's going to happen today. I'm also doing this today. There's a short video dropping tomorrow. We did get a new piece of equipment here at Okies Eden to help along with storing food and my homesteading thoughts for down the road. Anybody that's followed me for a while knows that the original garden was the 10 by 10 garden, and then I've expanded it and expanded it and expanded it because I wanted this Okies Eden oasis garden that's about 3,000 square feet that I can supply food for a year if I have to. And that's what I'm working towards. Not prepping, I'm not building a compound. It's literally so if we're out of, we have a grocery store that shuts down, which we did due to a tornado. We've had other issues with a little store in town that closes quite often because of AC issues, and you're stuck. You got to go either 30 miles, 40 miles somewhere to a grocery store. So that was one of the other deciding factors to go a little bigger. And then I decided I would start to get to the point where now I was going to take Okies Eden, not just the garden, and getting that up to where I want, to the standard I want, where I'm producing a lot of vegetables, but then able to store them for an extended period of time. So I did get some stuff. I have some other stuff coming in, so stick around. I'm gonna be doing some videos on it. It's gonna help my family or my neighbors if they needed help, food-wise. My pumpkins are pumpkining, if that's even a word. So I got to get busy on finishing up the puree. I have about, from what I can guess, I'm going to have about 50 cups probably of just from those few pumpkins, and I have more coming due here to pick. And then I still have the other ones that were for my October videos, and then I still have all the new sugar pie, which I have to do a video on. I'm doing a video on the sugar pie stuff. I'm doing a playlist. That's coming up. And then I have another set of regular Connecticut Field pumpkins that are going to finish out the Connecticut Field for the year once they produce after October. Okay, I'm almost there. Then also what I'm planning on doing is planting some potatoes today. I do have some baby reds that have sprouted. I've been chitting them for a while. Hey, Missy. So they're ready to go in now. Just went and got it. So that baby, I have 10 or 12 of these going in the ground today. So those are just baby reds. They're just regular old. What I do is if, when I want to do seed potatoes, I'll go to the store. I have plenty of potatoes to eat here, but sometimes they don't always sprout for me. So I go get the organic baby reds or Yukon Golds. You know, they're $3 for 5 or 6 pounds. You know, you get 14 or 15 potatoes, which gives me, if I net, you know, I can net 2 to 3 pounds per potato. So that you figure that out. That gives me, you know, whatever 14 times 2 or 14 times 3 is. Boom, that's how many pounds I get. So it's worth the work, I think. Let me get my slotted spoon. So what I'm going to do is when you're dealing with simple syrup, sticky, liquidy stuff, I keep these around. These little things are handy. I'll get my mason jar. You can see what I got. I'll show you here in a second. So this is going to go down in the jar. Then if I spill it, it goes inside the dish. It doesn't go all over the inside or the outside of my counter. Whew. I just gotta yeah, you gotta be careful about that. All right. This is awesome. I made more than I think I'm gonna fit, that I'm gonna be able to fit inside the mason jar here. Yeah. So let me put the rest over here for a minute so I can just finish up. All right, then I put this back on. I put the liquid back on. Check that out. I'm happy with that. That's awesome. I'm very happy about that. Let's see. All right. Well, can't find my other mason jars, so I'm going to use one of my whiskey glasses. And I don't even drink whiskey. It's just I thought the glass was cool. I think somebody gave it to me because they know I'm not it's kind of a joke, I think. Okay. There it is. So these will be used first. I'll use these today, but you can see the color. Look at the color in there. Oh, tell you what, if you have a cold and you need your sinuses cleared, use that. So now what I'm doing is, you got to watch this now because you don't want this to turn to like a candy, because it will. If you let this boil too much and that reduces down on that sugar, that'll start to stiffen up, and I've had it stick to the inside of the pot before, so you just got to be careful. So I'll give that probably another 5 minutes while I talk, and then I'll end this live because I do have to get out to the garden. So what's happening next here, hopefully at Okies Eden, is I'm building the trellis today. Hopefully I'm planting potatoes today. All the green beans that I planted the other day, I planted a row, a 25-foot row. That's all sprouted pretty much, which is great. My beans and those kind of vegetables, I'm not using as a fall harvest type thing yet, where I'm going to harvest them and can them. They're for my seeds for the next couple of years because I plant them in the summer in the heat. Some make it, some don't. And then what I do is, the ones that make it, I have replanted multiple times through the last couple of years. So I know that those seeds work really well in the Oklahoma climate, which can go anywhere from, you know, in the summer, it can be 80 for a month, and then all of a sudden it'll fly up to 105. So these have seen everything from 50 degrees up to 105 degrees, and they flourished. And then what I do is I let those seeds dry, and then I plant them again next year. The ones that make it and flourish, I keep those seeds. So I've done that for 4 or 5 seasons, or 4 or 5 iterations now. I'm taking this off now because I don't want it to turn too thick. Now I'm just going to pour my liquid in there, and I'll pour a little bit in the whiskey glass. And see if this is too hot or not. It's hot, but I'll do it. There we have it. This will cool down now. I'm not going to put this in the fridge yet. I'll let this cool down. And then there's my whiskey glass. That will be eaten by tomorrow. I'll eat this today and tomorrow. I'm doing pizza burgers tonight, where I'm doing burgers on the grill. I have some mozzarella, so I have some pizza sauce, and I have some pepperoni. So I'm doing pizza burgers, and tonight mine will have hot peppers on them. So, anywho, that is Cowboy Candy. 1.5 cup water, half a cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of sugar. Bring it to a boil. Throw your jalapenos in. Let them turn. It's a little hot, but I can do this. Let them turn that color so they look like they're pickled from the store. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh, let me tell you. Wow. Okay. Tabasco's a winner. Winner, winner, Tabasco dinner. That hit. Woo! All right. With that said, Okies has to get to the garden, so thanks for watching. Thanks for interacting on the live. Sorry I didn't really get to talk much, but I did want to do a Cowboy Candy without having to edit it and wait a week because my peppers were starting to turn on me, so I wanted to get them, while they were still somewhat fresh, wanted to get them into the Cowboy Candy. So with that said, you guys all have a great day.